Hello again, my name's Gabe Zolna. I'm going to turn this most recent post into a video, and this is from that same viewer of mine that sends very interesting, very informative, and very descriptive email messages to me. And here we go. Hi Gabe, I love your videos, so much so that I find myself chuckling at how you embellishingly phrase things. Quick comment on your Michael Brown video. Taking 5 minutes to expand effort and oxygen on the events and strategies in Ferguson, Missouri is no different than having an argument with a fellow passenger on the Titanic about the horrible alignment of the deck chairs, or getting upset about who didn't get their tea served first. It's an outrage, I tell you, regardless of our opinions on either side of these issues of distraction and inflammation. The fate of all passengers on board is exactly the same. The Missouri case, the border crisis that actually was just a creative cameo to get jihadists in, or the recent hacking story of the celebrities' personal iPhones, they are all 100% irrelevant to the big event if you see things from the perspective that we are indeed on the Titanic and Obama was our iceberg. It's obvious to everyone with a half a brain that the Missouri teenager thug was a doped up thief antagonist and that the officer responded naturally in self-defense, but it's not even worth paying attention to. Really, in the grander scheme of things, given the magnitude of everything else going on and that the usurper is hurting the world, heading towards World War III, and what will be the largest human conflict in the history of the earth. Ferguson's singular goal is to accomplish exactly what it's successfully doing, to stroke emotions high on either side and to get people passionately divided on racial lines until the big moment arrives when Obama lights the match on all of us, and that Americans will be seen attacking fellow Americans in the streets, and it will be televised for the whole world to see, exactly as Obama wants it to be, to humiliate us as a nation, as a people. Keep in mind, humiliation is a huge component of the Muslim psychology. Tangentially, that's why they treat women like such shit. I was actually thinking about that the other day. My guess is that the Germans in World War II did not feel quote-unquote inferior to anybody they were harassing or killing. They felt calmly superior. So when they killed their adversaries, they didn't waste a whole lot of time doing it. They just lined them up against the wall and shot them. Bam, rat-tat-tat-tat. Gas chambers, boom, you're dead. Unlike the Muslims, efficiency was the key word with the Germans, not humiliation. But Muslims, on the other hand, and I think it's ultimately telling us their character and collective sense of inferiority as people, as they have never created anything of substance, long value in human history, particularly like they humiliate their adversaries in their defeat. My guess is psychologically it makes them feel higher or superior in some way. Very infrequently do they just kill and walk away. They like to make a ceremony and get theatrical about it. Look at how Ambassador Stevens was killed. He wasn't just shot, no, he was beaten and sodomized while barely alive and burned him to death. It seems that it was a slow, brutal torture that actually stimulated these Muslim captors. So if you look at things on current events through their lens, that Obama doesn't just like to win. He likes to humiliate his adversaries. Things might make more sense as to what he's doing and why. America going down in flames and citizens shooting each other in the streets over basic supplies and racial differences. He'll be able to point to them and say, isn't this a shame? A real tragedy how these people are behaving like savages. It's such a pity, isn't it? Think about that for a second. The only nation who had their shit together enough to put a man on the moon will have its citizens blasting each other into oblivion. It would also explain why, as Dinesh D'Souza observed, that Obama seems to have great antipathy towards the birthers, who are the height of doctrine and civilization. Our court system is essentially a British invention, wherein the people tried to create order out of where there was previously chaos. As much as he is an Islamist, he's equally as much an anarchist. Everything he does ultimately moves things more towards anarchy and destruction than the opposite. And look at the history of the Muslims. Ask yourself, is he any different than they? They seem to have a penchant for destruction in lieu of creation. I guess my point is, I share your anger about all of the same things, but at a certain point, our anger isn't serving us. It's really serving the usurper. And it's a matter of figuring out how to funnel our energies into the most productive manner possible. I don't exactly have a solution for what that is, but I think you're in the right direction of that. Education is the key. I think not our anger, educating our fellow man to the real threats as lucidly and calmly as possible. And like I said, I share your great frustration and passion. Inform, inform, inform. All we can do, and to do our best to not be disagreeable to one another as we mutually share our passionate opinions. Keep on keeping on. Wow. Does this guy know how to write or what? Has he hit all the key points? Absolutely. You know what amazes me? I keep watching and I keep hoping that someone is going to call Obama out for what he is. Someone's going to say, hey, we've had enough of this. We've had enough of this Arab, radical, extremist Muslim that's destroying the American way of life. It's utterly amazing how not a single member of Congress, and there's 535 of those clowns, doesn't have the chutzpah, or in English, the balls, to come out and say what needs to be said. It's people like my viewer that sits down and puts together a document the way he did to try to educate so many that seem not to give a damn. I care. He cares. Many of my viewers care. Why doesn't a single member of Congress have the balls to call it what it is? Why doesn't someone stand up and honor their oath of office? Why do they just take, and they give nothing back? That's what I think. You know what my viewer thinks. Now, what do you think?